Hello everyone, welcome back to Matt's Investing Corner. And today we're doing a deep dive on IREN Limited. This is a company that is started in Bitcoin mining, but now is pushing hard into the AI data centers and GPU cloud. And the big investor question is IREN becoming a long-term AI infrastructure winner, or is it still mostly a crypto miner with an AI story? I'm going to walk you through how I evaluate this company, what I like, what could go wrong, and what I'm watching next. This is not financial advice, I'm just sharing my research and my opinion. Quick disclosure, I currently own shares of IREN. I started the position recently, and this video is for education and discussion purposes only, and this is not financial advice. Let's start with what IREN is today, not what we hope it becomes. Right now, IREN still makes most of its money from Bitcoin mining, cryptocurrencies. They do have an AI business already, but it's still very small. So when you look at IREN, you are looking at a transition story. Mining is the current engine, and AI is the future plan. That's important because the transition story can be very rewarding, but they come with execution risk. AI needs three things at scale. Number one, huge amount of power. Number two, data centers that can handle high density hardware. And number three, reliable operations 24/7. Bitcoin miners already learned how to do all three of them. They secure power, they build industrial sites, and they run large computing fleets non-stop 24/7. So IREN's logic is pretty simple. We are already building the hard parts, and now we use that base to serve AI customers, is what they're saying. The biggest headline in IREN's limited story is the Microsoft contract. This matters because big tech doesn't sign deals like this unless the power is real, the delivery plan is realistic, and the operator can execute. This deal is described as multi-year, very large in total value, and tied to a meaningful amount of data center capacity. And it includes customers' prepayments. So in simple investor terms, this means that this is a type of deal that can change how the market values IREN, from being a crypto miner to being an AI infrastructure platform. But we also keep it realistic. This revenue ramps up over time, it doesn't hit all at once. Now let's talk about the most recent quarterly results, because this anchors the whole story. In their latest quarter, IREN reported the following. They had a record revenue of about 240 million. They had an adjusted EBITDA of around 92 million. Now here's the key detail, which is super important. They also reported very large headline profit numbers, but part of that was influenced by the non-cash accounting gains. So as an investor, I focus more on the core operating performance and the company's ability to fund the growth. And that quarter basically tells us two things. The mining business can generate meaningful cash when conditions are good. And number two, AI revenue exists, but it's still small compared to the crypto mining. So the AI future is still something IREN must prove over time. And this is why IREN is exciting and why it's also a bit risky. In AI, the bottleneck isn't only chips. A huge bottleneck is also having enough power. And IREN's pitch is that they have large secured power capacity and a room to expand, with major hubs in Texas and also in sites in Canada. When I evaluate this, I focus on one simple question. How much power do they control, and how fast can they turn that into revenue? Because power on a slide is one thing, power that is connected, energized, and ready to monetize is what matters. So the next year or two will be about build milestones, grid and substation timing, and how smoothly they bring new capacity online. This is the most important nuance for investors. IREN talks about the future where they have far more GPUs running and far more repeatable revenue coming from AI. Part of that is tied to an anchor contract, which is great, but the rest depends on building more capacity, bringing GPUs online, and landing additional customers or expansions. So my framing is the following. They have contracted a huge anchor, which is a strong foundation with having Microsoft on your side. The additional ramp up is the upside, but not guaranteed. That's why I keep calling this a transition story. Now let's talk about the stock itself. As of right now, IREN Limited trades around $50 per share, with a market value in the mid-teens of billions. And the big point is, the share price has been very volatile over the recent months. It's had big moves on major news, strong quarterly updates, big AI headlines, and especially the Microsoft contract announcement. Over the last year, the stock has traded in a very wide range, from the single digits at the low end to well above $70 at the high end, and then back down again. My investor takeaway is here, the market is not valuing IREN Limited like a slow, steady utility. It's valuing it like a high expectation transition story. So at today's valuation, the market is basically saying, we believe IREN can execute the AI plan. Which means, if execution is strong, upside can be meaningful. And if execution slips, the downside can also be real. Okay, quick valuation and a sanity check in plain English. At today's share price, IREN is already valued like a company that will successfully become a real AI infrastructure business. What that means is the market is not paying for maybe someday, but it's paying for real execution. So here's the simple way how I look at it. If IREN delivers on its building plan and brings GPU capacity online and turns those contracts into repeatable AI revenue, then today's valuation can make a lot of sense, and there could be still a lot of upside on the current price. But if the AI rollout is delayed, if funding becomes too expensive, or if customers don't scale the way investors are expecting, then the stock can reprice quickly because a lot of future success is already priced in. So after looking at the business, their latest quarterly earnings, the stock's move, and what the current valuation is really betting on, here's my honest evaluation. So what I like is the power and the sites, a real bottleneck advantage that they have already secured. Another point is a major anchor customer with Microsoft, validating the AI direction. A clear strategy to shift towards a longer-term AI revenue. And number 4, a strong recent operating performance, but with the reminder that some of the headline profit numbers include non-cash effects. And number 5, if execution is strong, the stock can be valued more like an AI infrastructure and less like a miner. What can break the story is delays in building and commissioning, funding risks or shareholder dilution that gets out of hand, customer concentration risks, and the fact that mining still matters a lot today. So what I'm watching next? AI revenue trending higher quarter by quarter. New customers wins beyond the anchor deal of Microsoft. Building milestones on time, funding discipline, basically securing the finances, and last, whether the business becomes less dependent on mining cycles and starts to become an AI infrastructure player. So that's the wrap up of my deep dive on IREN. If you enjoyed this, drop a comment. I'm curious to know if you see IREN as a real AI infrastructure play, or do you still mainly see them as a crypto miner? Thanks for watching. This is Matt's Investing Corner. Take care and see you on the next one.